Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another update on my Shaddoll deck. It's been a while since I picked up on this deck, and I made quite a lot of changes, especially because of the news of some new cards from Genisis Impact. There was a lot of cool things that you can do with Shaddolls, more so now, especially if you want to play this as a rogue deck. Shaddolls can actually do quite a lot, especially with cards like Il Shaddol Winda. Construct is just like crazy of a card because it pretty much gets you access to your Shaddoll Schism. And yeah, there's a lot of cool things. So this is basically Shaddoll Magistus. And you'll see like which Magistus cards I'll be using, which honestly should be obvious since, you know, a lot of people are picking up on this engine for this deck. And yeah, it's pretty good. So anyway, let me go and show you what I got. So starting off with the main deck, it's still 40 cards. Playing 3 copies of Windy. Everyone already knows what this does. It's special summons from deck, whether it's face up or face down, depending on how you utilize it. Next, 3 Squamata. Can, if you flip it, you know, you can pop a monster, or any card rather, I should say. And if sent to the graveyard, it becomes a, well actually, yeah, you can only destroy monsters with it, I'm sorry. But anyway, you generally just use it for the Foolish Burial effect. But again, it's pretty good for spot removal if you really need to go that route. But at the time, you're just gonna use the Foolish Burial effect. Now I'm playing 2 copies of Nail Shaddoll Ariel. Ariel's so good this form because, you know, we still got graveyard reliant decks. This is really strong against the Eldritch matchup simply because, you know, you want to banish their trap cards. That way they don't have to, that way they don't replace themselves essentially. So yeah, Nail Shaddoll Ariel can really come in clutch. And not to mention her flip effect is more relevant, more so now because of the fact that you're going to be using a lot of combos that, again, try to get you access to your construct a lot more. That we can use her Foolish Burial effect multiple times. So yeah, Ariel, an amazing card. For the one-ofs, these are basically going to be your utility tools. 1 beast for drawing, 1 dragon to, you know, pop spells and traps if you need to go that route, or you can compulsion a card your opponent controls. 1 hedgehog now. You don't really need to see 2 of these anymore simply because of the fact that it's, well, 1, it's searchable, and plus, you know, you could easily get this card back with our next card. 1 copy of Falco. Falco just basically adds a grind game to the Shaddoll engine in general. So yeah, like 1 hedgehog should be just fine in general. Again, Ariel's really going to be the one you want to see the most. So yeah, that's generally it. And that's pretty much it for the Shaddolls. Now moving on to the, for my starters, I'm playing 3 copies of the new Reliona, the Magistus of Veer. I did make a post a while back that I pulled the collector's rare, but I managed to get these ultra rares at a fairly good. Actually, I pulled 2 of them and then ordered the last one at like $5 or something. But anyway, now this card's amazing because she guarantees you a fusion spell if you open up with her. So if this card is normal or special summon, and again, you're only going to use the first effect generally, you can add any Magistus spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And the card you're mainly going to aim for is Magistus Invocation. That is a fusion spell. So yeah, an amazing card. The secondary effect is cool and all, but again, you're just mostly going to use it for the search part. Now, if you don't open up with Reliona, you do have a secondary starter, which should get you the same combo. It may not be as good, but it's still, it can still basically get you to what you need. I'm still playing 3 copies of Mathematician. Mathematician is also really good because it's an earth monster. So like, in case your opponent tries to like impermanence this card, you can essentially Il Shaddol Fusion, dodge it, and go into Il Shaddol Shekinaga. And then you can pretty much just go from there. So yeah, Mathematician is still really good. And plus, if it's a short in battle, you get to draw a card. So yeah, both cards are really good. Again, Reliona is definitely going to be the better one of the 2, but Mathematician is kind of like the secondary starter. And to round off with the spellcasters, I'm running 1 copy of Performance Trick Clown. Trick Clown is still really good. It's an extender piece. It's a light monster. You know, just send it off with Shaddoll Fusion, and you can still make construct that way too. So yeah, Trick Clown just comes in clutch whenever you really need it. For hand traps, I'm running 3 copies of Ash. You know, Ash is definitely one of the best hand traps this format. Cypher Gear Gamma is still really good too. It's a good way to combat other hand traps, and of course you still got to run the 1 driver to go with it. But yeah, like Cypher Gear Gamma is really good, especially going second. Like if you like start off with a Shaddoll Fusion and your opponent tries to Ash it, you can just play Cypher Gear Gamma, just pop it, well, negate and pop it, and get a free body on board, and you can still like go full combo. So like, yeah, that's one of the cool things about the Cypher Gear package. And that pretty much rounds up with the monsters. All right, so for spells, got to play 3 copies of the original Shaddoll Fusion. This card is still pretty broken. The fact that you can use materials from the deck as long as your opponent controls a monster from the extra deck is still really good. Now, of course, we are in a control format. This isn't really a combo-heavy format, but there are still decks right now that still utilize the extra deck. Like any deck that uses Dragoon, any deck that uses, yeah, basically Dragoon, some that like we got Zodiacs, you know, play Xyz monster, so that's also really good. Yeah, like there's a huge variety right now. So Shadow Fusion is still relatively good. So yeah, don't underestimate this card. 3 El Shaddol Fusion, which is my personal favorite of the two. 2 Super Poly. Now this is just a card that generally outs Dragoon, or if like I have if my opponent just sits on a board with monsters that I could use as fusion material for any one of my El Shaddolls, I'll just use those towards that. So like against like Eldritch, since you know Golden Lord is a light monster, I could just use that to make a construct. 2 Magistus Fusion, or Magistus Invocation. I'm sorry, I was about to say Magistus Fusion. So this basically is just polymerization, but you have to use a spellcaster monster as a material. So like as long as you use 1 spellcaster, you should be fine. You can use anything else. And if you're summoning a Magistus Fusion monster, this way you can use monsters from your spell in or trap zone. So like, because you know Magistus have this mechanic where they basically equip to other spellcasters. So yeah, like you could use those as materials. But again, that's kind of rare for that to happen. I mean, you will potentially use Artemis from time to time on her effect, but generally, yeah, Magistus Invocation, it's just easy access to your El Shaddol construct. And then for the one-off, I'm printing 1 copy of Foolish Barrel just to get things started if I open up with it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And for traps, only running 3, 2 copies of Shaddoll Incarnation, and last but not least, the 1 copy of Shaddoll Schism. You only need this as a 1, you don't need 2 of these. I think 2 is just too much. 1 is perfectly fine. You could easily, like I said, you could easily dump this with Squamato or Construct, and you'll always be able to get this back on your opening hand, depending on what you draw into. So yeah, really good. All right, now for the extra deck. Extra deck is pretty self-explanatory. Oh, if you notice, I'm not running the Dragoon engine in my build. I just didn't have the room for it. So, but honestly, that's fine. You really don't need Dragoon for this. So I'm now playing 3 El Shaddol Construct again. I was running 2 for a while, but then I decided to bump it back up to 3. So yeah, and that turned out to be the smart choice. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So 2 Construct, the ultimate Foolish Barrel, and the fact that she can pop any monsters that were special summoned before damage or during damage tips. So yeah, it's really nice. 2 Winda. Still like to, it's one of the best floodgates right now, especially because, you know, there are still decks that will special summon, specifically Drytron. You know, as soon as they special summon 1 time, that's it, they can't go anymore. 1 App Clone, permanently negates, can't be destroyed in battle, but also searches or recycles one of your Shaddoll cards as long as you discard 1 in the process. And keep in mind that this card is not cost, so you could trigger other Shaddoll monsters' effects. 1 Shikinaga to negate monster effects, well, of special summon monsters primarily, as long as you discard. Same thing, you don't have to, it's not, the discard is not cost, so you can trigger. 1 Starving Venom is my my generic super poly target, and still pretty good. Some say Mud Dragon of the Swamp is a little better, which is fine, you know, against the zoo, that is pretty much true, but again, Starving Venom should do the job just as good anyway. So, and plus, like, the zoo monsters, if I'm not mistaken, they're mostly Earth, so Shikinaga could potentially be a super poly target for them too, so that's why I'm not really running Mud Dragon. For the links, 1 copy of Artemis, to light monster, and plus it just kind of makes the performance Trick Clown a little bit stronger. So like if you have that out already, link it off, make Artemis, Trick Clown will bring itself back, and then you just keep going. You can just link up a little higher. So yeah, Artemis is still really good. 1 Gravity Controller. So this is basically what you do with Construct. So if you summon Construct in the extra monster zone, as you can see right here, you link off to Gravity Controller. El Shaddol Construct will get you back any one of your Shaddol spells or traps, which case you probably just use one of the fusion cards. And then from there, you banish the trap card Shaddoll Incarnation with her, flip up Ariel, and then Ariel bring back your Shaddoll Construct. El Shaddol Construct's effect is not a hard once per turn, so as soon as she's summoned, she can always dump a Shaddoll card. So like, again, this is pretty much how you loop the combo. You always Foolish Burial Schism last. That way, the second time you get rid of El Shaddol Construct, you get this back guaranteed, and then you just go from there. Next, 1 Cross Sheep. Of course, everyone needs a Cross Sheep. 1 IP Masquerena, Nightmare Unicorn, Celine, and for the link 4, you can pretty much use whatever you want. I'm sticking with the Access Code Talker. This just seems to be the best choice. You could also go Boral Sword Dragon if you so choose. You can go Avermax. Avermax is still really good. So, like, it's really up to you. But yeah, IP Masquerena, you generally just use that to go into, with Gravity Controller, link into Nightmare Unicorn, just to kind of like give your opponent some disruption. And plus, Nightmare Unicorn can't be destroyed by card effects with IP's effect. And then afterwards, you can go into Access Code Talker right after, once your turn starts, and just start clearing some boards, you know? All right, side deck. Side deck is pretty self-explanatory. Running 3 copies of Artifact Lancia. This is pretty much good against the Dinosaur matchup, against Eldritch, any deck that can banish cards. If I'm not mistaken, I think Drytron does a little bit banishment. I can't be 100% sure. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, Artifact Lancia is still really good. 2 Ghost Spell. I wanted to run 3, but I didn't have room for specifically for another card, and you'll see in just a moment why. Ghost Spell is just super good against the against Dogmatica decks, so like it just stops Nadir Servant. So yeah, you could main deck this if you preferred that, but I think siding it out is just fine. I'm running Shaddoll Annoyatilis on the side. This is basically for Drytron, because Drytron is a ritual deck, and Annoyatilis basically states that neither player can special summon from hand or grave using spell or trap card effects. And since ritual summoning requires to summon from hand with a spell effect, well, unless you're playing Megaliths, I guess, Annoyatilis basically just shuts that deck down. They'll never be able to bring out Cyber Angel Benton, and yeah, that's pretty annoying. And plus, she's got a huge body, so she can't really. It's really hard to beat over this card. So, Annoyatilis, an amazing card. So try it out for yourself. See what you guys think. And since you do have a searchable water monster in this deck, Annoyatilis is actually pretty easy to bring out. 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Again, we are in control format, so Harpy's Feather Duster traps are big right now, so definitely want to try to get rid of those as much as possible. Running 3 Dig Barrier. This is also good against the Drytron matchup, but it's also good against the Zoo matchup, because, you know, Xyz monsters, you don't want that Zeus to come out. It's also good against Dragoon decks, so just call Fusion. They can't bring out Dragoon. And yeah, D-Barrier can put in a lot of work. Now, of course, keep in mind, if you call Fusion, this affects you too. So yeah, just be careful with that. 2 Evenly Matched, you know, just to deal with like big boards, like specifically back row boards. So yeah, another good way to deal with it. So that's nothing else for me to say about it, really. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy this, and I will catch you guys again next time.